Good morning, everyone. Well, I've been sitting here while waiting to see you, and there are some things that I have to say to you, so I'm recording this so it may benefit somebody else. First of all, I just want to share with you that these 12 items are the ones that I am using as your assessment. Unfortunately, most of them are Google form type of assessment. So you have to click on the link, fill in the blanks based on the topics that I have sent to you. And then basically I will be marking those. So those 12 items will be used for your grading system for this year. I constantly send updates to you. From those that I have received, the performance of those who have taken them are at a low of 50 and a high of 85. So generally, not bad, but the number of persons that are taken is the one that have concern to me. So we have to work greatly on that to improve. What I propose to do today, I want to, based on what I have marked for you, there are some issues that I just want to take you to right now. So I'm going to show you one aspect of respiration that it seems as a number of you have been challenged with. So I will take that to you and show you some things that apparently there were some misunderstanding that we need to take care of. Now, look at this one. Remember we said that there are two types of respiration. We have aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic basically means without oxygen. With oxygen. And anaerobic is the prefix without. So without oxygen. So when we talk about anaerobic respiration, there is a difference in plants from in animal. In plants, we generally call it alcoholic fermentation, in which alcohol and carbon dioxide is produced in this process. In animals, lactic acid is produced and energy is a reduced amount of energy, as you definitely can see from this what we have here. While in the plant, there is some carbon dioxide along with the alcohol and even some more energy. So what we notice here with the lactic acid right here, this is incomplete combustion, as we could call it, because tied up in this lactic acid is still a whole lot of energy. So here we have, when we say that there are two problems with anaerobic respiration. What are those two problems? Here we go. Anaerobic respiration releases much less energy from glucose compared with aerobic. So that is one of the problems we have when we talk about anaerobic respiration. The second challenge. Lactic acid is a poisonous waste product. And when lactic acid is built up in our muscles, it tends to cause tension. And you can experience that when you, for example, you're exercising, you are out there running, playing basketball, whatever, your legs feel tired. Or let us say, if I should take this, what I have here in my hand, and I should keep lifting this like in the case of a weightlifter several times. After a while, what do you think will happen to your muscles? Your muscles will start getting tired. The number of times you're able to lift this will get slower and slower. and then you will start feeling pain. So those are two of the issues that we have. I want to pause to welcome those students who are joining us at this time. I'm just reviewing some misconception that I think that you may have with this one. So why is anaerobic respiration not the best way to get energy from glucose? Why? So already we see there that is less energy. And then we see there that the product formed from it is poisonous to the body. Okay? Now, let's look at something else. So we say here that your lactic acid is product of anaerobic respiration. It is harmful because it can stop the muscles from doing their jobs. So the muscles' job is to contract and move body parts. But when lactic acid is built up in these muscles, the muscles cannot do their job. And that is a serious problem. So here we go. This is the word that you need to be, anybody hearing me? We say that fatigue, and I want you to be familiar with this term, muscle fatigue. All it we're saying here, very simple, the muscle gets tired, all right? And then as a result of that, you start aching and we experience what we call body cramp, which forces the body to stop what it was doing and rest, most definitely. So it leads us to the next question. Why can anaerobic respiration only be carried out for a short period of time? Anybody want to answer that? Why can anaerobic respiration only be carried out for a short period of time? What about Miss Dorset? Do you want to answer? Kiana? Oh, or Miss Stubbs? No answer? Nobody talking to me? Hello? Okay. Now, why? Let's look. After short anaerobic respiration, the body in recovery and must get rid of lactic acid. So, so one of the reasons why we're saying that it cannot go on for a long time is because it produces this poison that builds up inside the muscles, and your body must get rid of this poison. So we say that the body is now at rest, but the breathing rate and the heart rate remain high. So notice, for example, if you're at the finish line and you see somebody finish 100 meter or a 400 meter, I think a 400 meter, you see it more. After the race, these persons, they need some time to be really some deep breathing. And that's why your coaches will tell you not to just lie down there, because at that time you need a lot of oxygen. Why do you need a lot of oxygen? Why? Why is it that your race is finished, but you feel like your chest still bursting and you are pulling in air and you're encouraged to do that? Why? Yes, it's because of the same thing here, this poison. Lactic acid is in the muscle and you need a lot of oxygen to get rid of that lactic acid. So we say that the oxygen is needed to get rid of oxygen by turning it into what? Carbon dioxide and water. So there is the carbon dioxide and the water. This is the byproduct of aerobic respiration. This is a part of alcoholic fermentation. But in lactic acid formation, as in this case in man, there was no carbon dioxide nor water. All of that and the additional energy was tied up in this product called lactic acid. So that is something that's And we have a special name for that oxygen that you need to get rid of that. Anybody know what that is? If you don't want to type it in the text. I will see what you have and will respond.
What you say?
Okay, you're hearing me now. Welcome. What is the name we give to that additional amount of oxygen that you need to convert this lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water?
Is it ATP?
Is it what?
ATP, I'm not sure.
Oh no, the energy is called ATP, but you need a lot of oxygen to convert the lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water. My question is, what name is given to that extra amount of oxygen that you need after that race to do that conversion? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No takers? Okay, we call that oxygen debt, D-E-B-T. All right? We call that oxygen debt. What happened is, like, you have a credit card. You don't have the money in the bank, but the bank put $2,000 credit on your card. It's not your money, it's the bank's money. But you see a sale on and you need to get this stuff, or you know you need it. So you go with your credit card and you purchase this thing. After you purchase it, that thing is yours, but you now have to pay back the bank's money. Isn't that so? So you have incurred a debt that you now have to repay. So when a person is running like 100 meters, what is happening that their bodies cannot supply the oxygen at the rate at which they need it to produce the energy that they need for that event. So the body automatically switches to an energy source or a way of producing energy, albeit not as much as aerobic, but it's still some energy. And in doing that, it releases the energy, but without oxygen. Notice up here, glucose, no oxygen here. So after the race, it has to pay back that demand for oxygen that it used to produce this poison in the body. And that will oxidize lactic acid, releasing more energy and producing, return this to carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so here we have it then. During aerobic respiration, muscles get energy from glucose by paying it with oxygen. Okay, that's good. What it's saying here, that during anaerobic respiration, muscles, they get energy from glucose, but do not pay for it with oxygen. So that's just a basic way of understanding what we're saying. It means that oxygen debt is created. They created an oxygen debt. That's exactly what we are talking about here, okay? So that's the term here that I want you to get, and I do not, based on what you are doing, I do not get it that a number of you truly understand what this was about. And I don't think those of you who tried to answer the question did it properly. So I hope that by this, what I'm going through, that you're able to get that. So the oxygen debt caused by anaerobic respiration is paid off during the recovery after the exercise. It is the oxygen that is needed to get rid of lactic acid that pay back that oxygen debt. So here you have it here, lactic acid plus oxygen produces carbon dioxide and water. Okay, good. Now, what I want somebody to do today, just give me a brief summary, your understanding of respiration? Any one of you, your understanding of respiration. Come on, talk with me. What do you understand? What are some of the terms that we use? Do you understand? For example, when we talk about aerobic respiration, what comes to your mind? What do you understand by that?
Aerobic respiration is when your body needs oxygen to do its work.
Okay, and what is the oxygen reacting with?
Energy.
And a reaction is, I have something here, and I add this to it, and something is produced. So glucose, I gave it away. Glucose plus what? Glucose plus
oxygen.
Oxygen produces
energy.
Energy plus
Carbon dioxide.
And
You won't go in the check in your drawer to see if it's in there.
But wait, I'm talking.
carbon dioxide and another product. Yeah, I see this COVID thing getting you all on focus. All right. So the first one is aerobic respiration. It has to do with carbon dioxide. Sorry, glucose plus oxygen produces energy, but releases carbon dioxide and water. What do you understand now by anaerobic respiration?
Anaerobic respiration is when your body does not need oxygen.
Your body does not what?
When your body does not, but when your body is not receiving oxygen.
To do what?
To do work or to produce energy.
That's right. So your body or whatever the organism is not using oxygen to produce energy. Okay. All right. So what about what's the difference between anaerobic respiration in plants and in animal?
Let's go. Let's go.
Plants and animals.
Somebody has gone out of the class. Who is the other? Anyway, let's go.
That's yeah. Okay. Let me see. I gotta remember.
Okay. Remember, we are saying that with anaerobic respiration in plants, a product is produced, and that is very important for the wine industry, the beer industry.
So
what is that product that is produced? What is it that is in the product that can cause intoxication?
Fermentation. Is it fermentation?
The process is called fermentation. But what is the product that is produced during fermentation?
Oh, the product. No.
Yeah, go ahead. What is it?
Ethanol.
And ethanol is the thing that we commonly call alcohol. It's that which we find in the beer, in the wine, in the whiskey. The difference is the amount of alcohol in them. For example, your beer versus your overproof rum, versus your wine versus your beer versus your whiskey. It's really the percent of oxygen and the product that is used for making. For example, we make wines from grapes, and you have white wine or red wine from grapes, but we make beer we make beer from your malt, your barley,
Mm-hmm.
and you put other things, the alcohol or the sugar, overproof rum from your sugar cane. But basically, you can make wine from just about any fruit product. Your banana, your rice, just about anything can be used to produce a wine. Okay, I have heard people talk about even the juju plum. They have used them to make wine, or the og plum, and they have a unique taste. It's just a matter of how you do that. Okay, so that is in plant. What about in animal? What's the difference? Their difference.
A lactic acid. Is it that?
Okay, say the word again.
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid is produced. So excellent. That's very good. So that is what I want you to remember. So that's a key component that I want you to get when we talk about these things. So let's run through this again. Respiration has to do with the release of energy from food or from glucose. It can be done with oxygen or without oxygen. When it is done with oxygen, it is more efficient, more energy is produced, okay? When it is done from in anaerobic state, for example, in the case of man running 100 meter or 400 meter or a power lifter, it's because the body cannot supply. You can't breathe deep enough, or your heart can't pump fast enough to get the oxygen to the muscle. So your muscle switches to an anaerobic means, which is very inefficient, but it does release some energy that keeps you going. So that is very, very important. But there's a cost to that, that after you finish, it's going to take a toll on your body. And that's why athletes have to exercise. That's why they have to train to get their body used to dealing with lactic acid. Because if they are not if your muscles don't used to that, you put it under stress, that's why you see some athletes pulling up on the track. Their muscles literally tear. And the hamstring, or the one right at the back of your leg, is a key one that a number of athletes, some top athletes, will suffer from that. So that's why they have to warm up properly and get the appropriate circulation. Okay, now another thing that students have problem with is gas exchange. I'll bring this one up. I'll stop this sharing a screen. I'll bring up another one for you because I want you to, okay, this one here.
So, Mr. Dawkins, we only reviewing then?
Right now, no, we're going to do something, but we're going to do, I'm just going through this, and then this is the last one. Take me about 10 minutes, and then I will deal with an effect on the environment. That's the topic.
Mr. Dawkins.
Yes.
You sending these slides to my Gmail or WhatsApp, right?
Yes.
So I could get it.
Yes, I will. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This one that we're looking at is gas exchange. All right, right here. Gas exchange, students, has to do with the movement of oxygen from the lungs into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide from the tissues back into the lungs. Now, exchange takes place basically at two parts, in the lungs and in the tissues. Okay, this here, what you have, this is the lung tissue right inside here. You get here, right? This here is an example of a capillary going around a lung. This is a blood vessel. Right inside of that, you have a lot of red blood cells. And you know the red blood cell have what we call hemoglobin in them. Is that so, right?
Mhm.
Now, for gas exchange to take place, your carbon dioxide, which is in the air that comes into the lungs. By the way, what percentage of the air coming into the lungs is carbon dioxide from the atmosphere? Huh?
Is it 16%?
Carbon dioxide.
Oh, 21%.
Listen what I'm saying. Carbon dioxide, not oxygen.
Okay.
4%
Coming in or going out?
coming in.
Coming in is 0.03%. Going
Oh.
out, the concentration increases to 4%. All right? So oxygen is 21% in the air around us. So when we inhale oxygen, and I'm tired of telling students that we do not have a filter in our nose that take in oxygen. So alone, when we inhale, oxygen gets inside there, carbon dioxide gets inside there, nitrogen gets there, smoke particle gets there, water vapor gets there, flatulence gets there, everything that is in the air move into your lungs. But there are two gases that are important. What are those two gases? Two gases are
Oxygen,
and
carbon dioxide.
excellent. Oxygen and carbon dioxide. So very, very good. Okay. Now, so this is where the exchange occurs there. Now, this exchange is possible because of this feature. Let me see if I can do something here. This first feature, what we call, we say that it has a very large surface area. So the capillaries around the lungs and the tissue of the lungs are highly folded. And I demonstrated that the last time. So a lot of them fits into a small space. So that's what we mean that it has a large surface area. Number two, here we say that it has very thin walls, meaning that the process by which gas exchange takes place is what we call diffusion, right? Right here. So what we're saying is that the walls are very thin, just one single cell thick. So blood is able to move, or gas is able to move from one to the other very, very easily. The third point that you must know, we said that the walls are moist, and that is necessary because the gases is going to be dissolved on those surfaces. So that's very, very important that we understand basically what is happening there. And then it has an excellent blood supply because right around it, you have all of those blood supplies that are there to take the blood away. So that is very, very important for us to understand what we're dealing with there. Now, so that's one. Then the other thing, very quickly, the mechanism of breathing. Let's get this off here. The mechanism of breathing. What we're talking about is how you breathe. We cannot forget these simple things here. So the breathing is brought about by the action of the diaphragm and the intercostal muscle. And we say breathing is two parts, inspiration and inspiration and exhalation, or expiration, basically. So here you have a little model here. There you have your lungs, right, Kiana? Then you have your ribs. Behind that, you know, you have your trachea coming down here, right down here. So the oxygen coming in from the outside, coming right there, all right? The lungs, you know, you have your, there's one other thing I asked you to put in order, and that's very, very important. So you have your pharynx, your larynx, your trachea, Then coming down, you have your branch tube, which is your bronchus, 2 of them bronchi, and then from that you have more branch tube, which you call your bronchioli, and then right down they keep branching until they reach the very end. You have your alveoli at the very end. Now, for us to breathe, the intercostal muscles, that's the muscle that you'll find right here between the ribs. These are called intercostal. And those are some nice, well-exercised muscle. That's why in your ribs, you'll find ribs is practically fatless because it's pure, nice muscle. That's why people like the ribs so much, right? Right there. So you have those muscles there. So you have one that is internal and one that's external. So you have one coming from front to back and the next one coming from back to front. So it's kind of crisscross like that. All right? Those are the ones that when they contract, they get the ribs to move. Like if the ribs are like that, because the muscles are inside them, when they contract, they pull up. When they relax, they drop down like that, okay? So diaphragm is this muscle down here. So the first thing that it does, the diaphragm is going to contract and it's going to pull down like that. So what we find happening when the diaphragm contracts and pull down, there's more space from top to bottom of your lungs. But there's also more space from back to front. Top to bottom because the diaphragm create more space down here. So it's come down here now, so there's more space here. You get that? The ribs move up, so it create more space from top to bottom, so your chest looks much bigger. Is that good? Talk to me. Then the lungs increase in size, so the pressure, so there's, as the pressure out here is greater now, so it forces in and fill up the lungs. Make sense? So the mechanism of your breathing is, we say we are the, what are they? Things that are make it possible. But you people won't talk to me. What make it possible are the diaphragm. What are the others? Okay. The diaphragm. I'm not hearing you.
The ribs.
Yes, the ribs. And the?
What do you call? Intercostal muscle.
Intercostal muscles, right? So when you're talking about breathing, it's the diaphragm, the ribs, the intercostal muscle. Now, let's look at what happened when we inhale. When we inhale, what? The diaphragm muscle does what? Continue. Diaphragm muscle does what?
And it flattens.
It does what?
Contrast.
It contracts. And when it contracts, what direction does it move?
Down.
Downward. Excellent. So diaphragm contract, it moves downward. The intercostal muscle contract, and what's the result when they contract? Come on, the intercostal muscle contract. This is not a...
And it moves up.
What move up?
The intercostal muscle, right?
The intercostal muscle moves something. They are attached to something.
It moves the ribs.
Okay.
The ribs.
So it moves the ribs up, right? Good. Excellent. And that creates more space in the chest. Then the ribs and the sternum are pulled there. So the thoracic cavity is now expanding. Expand means that they get bigger. And then what? air pressure in the lungs is lower. So air is what? Rushed in. Let's go through that again. Inspiration. Let's go through the process. Number one, we say the diaphragm does what?
Contract.
And when it contracts, it moves what?
Down.
Downward. Excellent. Then you have what?
The intercostal muscle.
And they do what?
And the ribs, it moves upwards.
Right, the ribs move upward. And as a result of the ribs moving upward and the sternum pushes out, you have what? The chest cavity does what? Come, it's right there. It gets bigger, it's expanded. So when it expands, what happens to the pressure in the lungs? Does it increase?
The volume increases.
The volume decreases. The pressure also
increases.
There's more
right?
space. So the pressure is.
I know the air rushes in.
That's
so
right. So as the air rushes in, the pressure what? Increase or decrease?
Decrease.
No, air is coming in now. If you put in more air in your car tire, what the tire is going to do?
It will blow up.
All right, it's blowing up, right? So as the air rushes in, the pressure in the lungs increases.
Increases.
Okay. No, as the air comes in, air pressure in the lungs is now lower. So atmospheric pressure now causes air to come in. And when the air comes in, it increases the air pressure inside the lungs. So the air pressure in the lungs increases. Okay?
Okay.
So volume decrease, volume increase are what we say that the entire volume in the chest, and then you have a chest. So, and then when the air pressure is increased, as a result of some of the things that are missing here with the expiration, right here. Inspiration. So when you breathe out, the ribs move what? Come, the ribs move what? Down and in. The diaphragm what? Move what? See diaphragm here? So it's moved from down here to up here. So what happened to the volume inside the chest? It's a volume more or less. Is there more space in the chest or less space?
Less.
Less space inside there. So we say that the volume decreases. And that causes the pressure against the lungs that cause the air to move out. So it's the opposite of what happens. See the air just move out there, right there. The lungs decrease in size. And we say, so the pressure inside increases and air is pushed out through the trachea. So basically that's what happened. Here you have the diaphragm going, loops back up, and the air is moving out of the lungs, right there. That's expiration. So intercostal muscle relax. So the walls of the chest move down. And you can feel it when you inhale and exhale. That's basically what is happening. Okay? Is that good? Do you think you get this now? For heaven's sake, what happened? Do you think you understand?
Yeah, I
it?
think we could.
You think you're good with this? All right. So
yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's and see the percentage of air there, about that in the lungs. We're not there to deal with tidal volume and the things like that. So those are there. I can send this to you after I'm finished. Wow, I shouldn't close it like that. All right, now this is what we are on to today. there's a whole lot going on, but okay, so this is what we are going to do right now. Okay, let me just do something here.